The Stand. Whether you choose to read the online blog or get the print version delivered to your mailbox, you can rest assured you'll receive factual news and biblically sound commentary. Find out more today at afa.net/The Stand.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
For American Family News, I'm Bronson Woodruff. Israeli forces have launched another offensive into Gaza against Hamas. Fox's Greg Palkut reports from London.
Israel pushed tanks deeper into Gaza City as the effort to take over the city intensifies. Leaflets dropped by Israel's military told residents to leave immediately. Israeli airstrikes killed at least 98 people, according to the Hamas-backed local health ministry. It added that another 9 people died of malnutrition and starvation, as the world's leading Genocide Scholars Association said Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. The Israeli Foreign Ministry branded the decision an embarrassment to any academic standard based on a campaign of lies by Hamas.
The death toll from a major earthquake in eastern Afghanistan passed 1,400 today, with more than 3,000 people injured. That's according to Zabihullah Mujahid, a Taliban government spokesman on the social platform X. Rescuers are scrambling in a, quote, race against time, end quote, to reach the mountainous and remote area devastated by Sunday's powerful 6.0 magnitude earthquake, according to a UN official. The quake struck in several provinces, causing extensive damage. It flattened villages and trapped people under the rubble of homes that were constructed mostly of mud bricks and wood and were unable to withstand the shock. A federal judge halted a deportation flight that was set to take Guatemalan children back to their home country. Fox's William LaJeunesse reports from Los Angeles.
So there are 2 different versions of what happened. The National Immigration Law Center claims these kids who crossed the border illegally as unaccompanied children are being deported illegally, arguing each one as young as 5 years old deserve to remain in the U.S., saying exposing children to multiple harms and returning them to a country where they fear persecution by flouting their legal obligation to care for them in the United States is wrong. Now, the Trump administration, however, says the children's parents asked they come home, and the Guatemalan officials confirm that, arguing the children are better off with family than in U.S. shelters indefinitely.
Judge Sparkle Suknanan has said that she received conflicting narratives from both sides about what's going on. A new synthetic killer that's much stronger than fentanyl is making its way around the country. We're told it may even be resistant to Narcan. Here's David Spunt.
Nitazines are a class of opioids that have been on the street for a few years now, about 6 years according to officials. But drug dealers are slipping nitazines in common street drugs like Percocets, Adderall, and oxycodone. Fox is told that drug dealers started looking at different options when police started cracking down on fentanyl, and many of these dealers started using these nitazines instead. Remember, it's a class of drugs. Now, Congressman Eugene Vindman and Congressman Michael Baumgartner introduced a bipartisan bill called the Nitazene Control Act. Congressman Vindman announced it on X, describing the effort as the first ever bill to crack down on nitazines.
According to a 2024 DEA drug assessment report, these drugs are often made in China and make their way into Mexico and eventually the U.S. An immigration enforcement advocacy organization does not think supporting sanctuary policy is a winning issue for the Democrat candidate for governor in Virginia. AFN's Chad Groening has more.
As we have reported on AFN, Democrat gubernatorial nominee Abigail Spanberger recently pledged that one of her first acts if elected would be to undo Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin's executive order signed in February. It gave Virginia state and local law enforcement agencies a directive to assist federal immigration crackdowns being implemented by Donald Trump. Spanberger argued that the policy wastes local resources and undermines community trust. Eric Ruark is Director of Policy for the Federation for American Immigration Reform. He is not surprised she would toe the party line.
Obviously, Spanberger's a Democrat, and so for whatever reason thinks that this is a winning issue for her. I would argue that this is very much something that even voters within her party, many of them, would oppose. We've seen this in Washington, D.C., which is a close example, where the residents of D.C., who overwhelmingly vote Democrat, have supported the Trump crackdown on illegal immigration within the district. And so I don't think it serves her well politically, but obviously if she's going to raise money as a Democrat, that's really towing the party line there to try to shore up support.
I'm Chad Groening.
For American Family News, I'm Bronson Woodruff.
Hello, my name is Andy Miller, and I'm the president of Wesley Biblical Seminary based in Ridgeland, Mississippi. We are developing trusted leaders for faithful churches, and we do that based in the authority of Scripture and in the reality that Christians can be transformed. We do that also through bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. We'd love for you to learn more about Wesley Biblical Seminary at wbs.edu, where we're developing trusted leaders for faithful churches.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network for this Tuesday. It's not Monday. Feels like Monday for a lot of people, but it's actually Tuesday, September the 2nd, 2025. Hard to believe it's already September. Joining me in the studio is Wesley Wildmon. Good morning, Wesley.
Good morning.
Chris Woodward.
Good morning.
And Ray Pritchard's in Kansas City. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Tim. How you doing today?
Doing good. Did you're an Ole Miss fan, right?
Yes, I am. And
so the Rebels won big.
Squeaked by Georgia State, so so number one's in the books. And hey, congratulations to your Mississippi State Bulldogs. Won a big game down there in Hattiesburg.
Yeah, we were already with the win, won half of what we won last year.
Yeah.
So, on the road to Dublin.
To better days.
Hey, better to win than to lose, right?
That's right. That's right. We're not going to criticize.
I think Napoleon said that.
We've got to do a better job. We've got to live in the moment. Okay?
Yeah, that's right.
Not look too far ahead.
So Mississippi State won. That's Wesley and I. We both went to school. Well, Chris did too. Went to school there, and so it's a fun weekend of college football. Unless your team lost.
Yeah.
There's a few.
To all of our Alabama fans out there, we're sorry, And, and last night, did you watch a little bit of that, Bill Belichick's college football debut?
Bill Belichick laid an egg.
Oh, that did not work out.
It was a rotten one.
I don't think Tom Brady has a kid old enough to play football yet. For Bill.
Man.
Well, you know what? It's week one, right?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
You got 12 weeks to find out how good your team is, and week one doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be that bad or that good.
It was a good program that they were playing too. TCU could be virtually.
Oh yeah, TCU is very good, absolutely. But yeah, Bill Belichick, the whole world was watching, and then they marched down the field. The first North Carolina did, and after that, it was all TCU.
Yeah.
After that, they were outscored 48-7.
Did you see who was at that game?
The stadium was rocking.
Yeah.
And then after halftime, nobody was there, and half the fans. What did you say?
Did you see who was at the game to watch the game?
I did.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
The great ones. Yeah. And Lawrence Taylor was
Lawrence Taylor,
yeah. The biggest letdown for me was a fourth-year player in Arch Manning.
What do you mean fourth-year player?
It's his fourth year at the university. And
Third. He's a 3-year redshirt.
He's a redshirt. Being there for 3 years.
Yeah.
Not having performed any better than he did as the number one player out of high school in the country.
Yeah, but like I said, he's got 11 games to redeem himself. So you'll be hearing the name Arch Manning.
It's tough to go on the road on your first game
against Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Yeah, and dominate them.
I would argue you had 3 years to prepare for that moment.
You're not playing Yoknapatawpha County Tech A&M.
There were freshmen out of high school that played better this weekend than he did.
Why are you anti-Arch?
No, I'm just the hype was entirely too much.
Well, yeah,
entirely.
Well, I agree on that.
I agree on that, but he didn't
for the last 3 years. It's been entirely too much.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, I made my point.
Peyton,
yeah, you made your point. You may be eating your words.
Yeah, Peyton Manning lost his first college football game in the state of Mississippi, which is where his dad's from. That was in September of 1994.
Yeah. All right.
But he didn't ask for the hype. He just happened to be born a Manning.
That's
right.
True.
Yeah.
So he didn't
no
like
pressure
go
there.
He's not a Arch Manning is not a look at me guy. I heard him after the game. He said, "I got to play better. I got to do better." And so you'll be hearing from Texas Longhorns again before the season's out. All right, so big week of college football, and sorry to say we got some real world stuff to talk about. Well, some good and bad. We try to make some good stuff in there as well. And you're listening to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. What is your first story, Chris?
Well, at least 54 people were shot in Chicago over Labor Day weekend. Some people, unfortunately, passed away as a result of being shot. President Trump, of course, is looking at ways to possibly deploy the National Guard to try to combat crime in the Windy City, much like his administration has done in Washington, D.C. But if the mayor of Chicago has any say about this, Brandon Johnson does not want any federal help. Don't take my word for it. Clip one.
No federal troops in the city of Chicago. No militarized force in the city of Chicago. We're going to defend our democracy in the city of Chicago. We're going to protect the humanity of every single person in the city of Chicago.
Now, again, at least 54 people shot there.
Okay, that's the first I've heard of him, heard from him. There's probably a lot more to that speech, but have you heard the whole thing?
Oh, not.
I'm just wondering if he's got the same enthusiasm for the 7 people that were murdered this weekend and the 54 that were shot with a firearm.
No.
Okay.
It's not.
I didn't think so.
Same with
usually
Governor
how that
Pritzker.
goes. Yeah, well, I understand, that why he's saying what he's saying, and we've all said many times we don't believe that President Trump, nor does it look good, much less has a constitutional power just to rush in there with National Guard. And Trump's not doing that, which is why he's looking for as many ways as he can to do it legally. But the point still stands is that we're not seeing a plan from the mayor in Chicago, Brandon Johnson. He doesn't have a whiteboard out at any of these press conferences that I've seen where he says this is what we're going to do to go from 54 shootings this weekend down to 44 shootings, and the list goes on. We're not seeing anything from him. So why he's all of a sudden doing these press conferences or making these comments in response to President Trump, but yet he doesn't seem as enthusiastic or as concerned with the problem that we're pointing out as Republicans or conservatives about these inner cities.
Yeah. Brandon Johnson is the mayor there we just heard from in Chicago. He's rallying the troops to defend his city against President Trump sending National Guardsmen. But Ray, have you heard any more about this? Because I don't think President Trump has said he's going to send National Guardsmen, has he?
No, and he and his administration, they have acknowledged he doesn't have the power to unilaterally say, go to Jacksonville, go to Chicago, go to Seattle. So, and I think everybody agrees on that. But there are two things to keep in mind here. Number one, these people are nuts. The mayor of Chicago, he's nuts. He is not only drunk the Kool-Aid, he's become drunken with his hatred of President Trump. I mean, we talk about TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. There's a guy who's got it, and Governor Pritzker has got it. Whereas on the other hand, you've got the mayor of Washington, who is a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, who has said, "Thank you, Mr. President, for what you have done." And I guess that is the bottom line of all this. President Trump can say, "Look what we did in Washington, D.C., and look how fast it turned around. Why not let us do the same thing for your city?"
Now, I think Trump is talking about ICE having a major operation in Chicago.
Right.
The immigration.
Customs enforcement. Which is different than sending the National Guard in to do like he did in Washington, D.C. As we've said all along, now Washington, D.C., crime is way down because of the presence of the National Guard and President Trump's, the FBI and others who are being employed in the District of Columbia, which is, as we've said many times, a federal city. It's in a unique situation. He does have the authority to do that in
our nation's capital, but not just sending National Guardsmen
all over the country, different cities.
to different cities across the country because crime's out of control. It's up to those cities and those states. For example, in Chicago, if the governor there or the mayor there, the mayor of the city wanted to, crack down on crime, which I don't think he does. It doesn't sound like to me. They could get the National Guardsmen in Illinois to come in and help, clean up the area, police the area, or get to violent crime down in their city. But yeah, Chicago just every weekend is just like a bloodbath.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it is the second largest city. Well, no, third now behind Los Angeles, third largest city in America. What are there? 7 or 8, 9 million, 10 million people in the greater Chicago area. It's a big place. I don't know, but I don't know about Chicago proper. How many people live there? But it's still one of the largest cities in America. So you have to consider that when you consider the numbers in terms of violent crime. But I think this is just a rally the troops moment for the Democrats. Keep Trump out of our city. We don't need to federalize our city. All the while, these statistics keep piling up with deaths and shootings and violence and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Talking about Mayor Johnson there not wanting the National Guard, not wanting
he
ICE.
made that clear, didn't he?
Yeah, pretty clear.
Yeah.
Now, Mayor Johnson is one of many Democrats that don't want any federal assistance whatsoever, National Guard, ICE troops, things like that. And somebody that responded to those Democrats today is ICE Deputy Director Madison Sheehan. She had this to say on Fox about Dems not wanting ICE or other federal officers. Clip 5.
Well, as you all know, oftentimes these Democrat-run cities are the ones who need ICE the most. And the men and women of ICE, Secretary Noem and President Trump will not be deterred by Democrat members of Congress, of governors, and of local leadership who are saying they will not work with ICE. The men and women of ICE will continue to go after the worst of the worst. We will go into communities and we will enforce immigration law as it's written. We have the support of Secretary Noem, who understands the importance of working with state and local leadership. But if these Democrat-run cities don't want to work with us, we will continue to go into these cities, and Chicago is another great example of that.
You're talking about with ICE,
yes,
which is enforcing immigration laws.
Correct.
So,
but they can legally do that constitutionally. That's separate from the National Guard, obviously.
I don't know if it's wise to tip off people that you're coming to the.
It's like, hey, we're going to attack you at 5 a.m. tomorrow.
I like the enthusiasm, and I'm cheering you on. But I also in the back of my mind thought the same thing. I thought, well,
why tip off the bad guys? How about telling them you're coming? Hey, we're coming next Tuesday to your city.
All
right,
we'll be there about 8:30 in the morning.
That's right. Yeah,
dress appropriately.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, next story, Chris.
Representative Rashida Tlaib of
Michigan.
She's
one of my favorite people.
Yeah, that's why I bring her in, Mr. President.
Yeah, Ms. Rashida Tlaib. She and Omar.
Ilhan Omar.
Squad.
Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, we're on a first-name basis with her and AOC.
They're AOC, what's her full name? Chris?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Okay, those
glad you didn't ask me.
They're the three musketeers.
They sure are. They sure are. Now, Rashida Tlaib, the representative from Michigan, was at a pro-Palestinian rally, and she was sharing a lot of comments about how you can't keep us down. We're here. We're going to fight. You can't ignore us. And here is a little bit of edited video, or audio, I should say, that I had to bring into the show. Clip 2.
They thought they could kill us, rape us, imprison us, violently uproot us from our olive tree farms, starve our children to death, and we would disappear. Well, guess what? Now we're in Congress, and we're every corner of the United States. They just don't get it. They will never truly comprehend, even after 7 decades, that we aren't going anywhere. We are just getting started. I want to say to all of them, every genocide enabler, look at this room. We ain't going anywhere.
Okay, genocide enablers. She's talking about Israel.
She is, and
people who
that
support Israel.
Yes, the West in general.
What kind of rally was that?
A pro-Palestinian rally.
Okay, well, of course, she's from Detroit area, right?
Yes.
There's a big Muslim population in that, so that doesn't surprise me. They would have a rally a rally like that. Ray, any thoughts on what she's talking
Well,
about there?
she is so far gone in her leftist, over-the-edge ideology. She thinks there's 200 million people who support her. Yeah, she's got her little niche of people, and they are in certain big cities, but she does not speak for the mainstream of America. She is way, way out there on the left, way out.
I do have audio from a Democrat by the name of Yemisi Egbawale. She was on Fox and Friends this morning.
Say it again, Chris.
Yemisi Egbawale.
Really?
Yeah. Me and Yemisi go way back.
Where's she from?
The United States of America.
Okay.
Planet Earth, I should say. Yeah.
Well,
but anyway.
Now, what is her role?
Yemisi Egbawale. She worked for the Biden administration for a period of time.
Okay.
And she was on Fox and Friends this morning saying that Representative Tlaib should do a better job of paying attention to issues in her district and not these kinds of comments that she's often in the news for making. Clip 3.
Let me be clear here. Rashida Tlaib does not sound like a sitting member of Congress. She sounds like an activist who has no responsibility to the people who elected her. She was elected in 2018, and she sits in a seat that John Conyers vacated, who still holds the record as the longest-serving black member of Congress. The people that elected her didn't elect her on the Gaza and Palestinian issue. I understand that that's her identity, and she's made inroads as being the first Palestinian American elected to Congress, but you don't get to run on your ideology. You have to run on what constituents voted you for. And I believe that the people in her district care about economic opportunity, infrastructure, having crime down, safety in their communities. I mean, at some point, this has to run out. And so I think she has to stop caring about what people online say and care more about what happens in her district.
I don't think Rashida is listening to those kinds of opinions, but
that woman we just heard from was a Biden
she
staff?
worked for the Biden administration.
So it's Democrat against Democrat.
It is. It is.
Right there. All right, you're listening to Today's Issues. So what's President Trump going to announce today at 2 o'clock at the Oval Office? Because there's a big announcement coming.
There is, and details are all over the place in terms of what he is.
How can details be all over the place?
Well, because anytime Trump's going to make an announcement, and details are not immediately made known, it's unclear as to what he's going to talk about.
I'm just kidding with you there.
Oh, no.
I'm picking on you as a reporter.
It's a great question. In this particular, I will tell you this, the scuttlebutt on the internet is that he's going to make some sort of announcement about his health. There have been people, Democrats and news people working together perhaps, trying to make an issue of Trump's age and whether or not he's in decent enough health here. Keep in mind, these people had nothing to say about Joe Biden during his 4 years of feebleness. But Donald Trump, President Trump, may be making some sort of announcement today. It could be something completely unrelated to health. It could be what, if anything, he's going to do about Chicago. It might be what to do about Russia, because on a side note, President Trump's 50-day deadline for Russia has expired. So who knows what today's announcement is going to be about.
Well, according to the New York Post, there's going to be a major announcement, maybe more things than one that it usually is that President Trump talks about at a press conference. But they're saying he's going to speak to the country and answer questions from reporters. I'm talking about President Trump today, 2 o'clock Eastern time from the Oval Office. And one of the things he's set to announce is that the U.S. Space Command is relocating to Alabama from Colorado after President Biden canceled plans to build the military branch headquarters in Alabama. So
that's one of...
That could be a big story.
It could be. Yeah, I mean, it's all over the place in terms of what he's going to talk about.
I'm assuming for Huntsville.
Yes.
Where NASA's already has a...
Right. Mississippi also has played a role in the space race and has for a long time, although Huntsville has a lot more infrastructure now in terms of space stuff.
How did we play a role in that?
The Stennis Space Center in Mississippi was very instrumental in terms of getting people to the moon. There's actually a famous saying that you can't go to the moon without first going through Mississippi.
That's a famous saying.
From the 60s.
I've just missed
Tim,
that.
You sound so skeptical.
I've never heard that, but Chris obviously has heard it.
Well, that means tomorrow then on Today's Issues we'll have more to report from the 2 p.m. meeting today.
Yeah. So we'll see what all President Trump it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't troll Illinois today, the governor and the Mayor Ray.
At least allot 5 minutes for it.
There's no way he won't troll Pritzker and and the guy up in Chicago. No.
What Trump will probably say today, they'll say, "Mr. President, are you sending the National Guard into Chicago?" And he's going to say, "I might not. I don't know."
That's right.
That's what he's probably going to say.
Not take anything off the table.
Right. He's going to say that because he knows that's going to make the liberals' heads spin off. Knowing he's not going to do it. That's what we mean by trolling. Sometimes President Trump, he does that. Presidents don't do that. Okay, in the past.
That's
but
right.
Trump does.
No. We've not seen this in the past. Right. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
About the president's health, because that's been an interesting. That's been an interesting side note. He is 79 years old. Mm-hmm. How should we? We're conservatives. We're not. We don't play ball with people on the other side. But is there a legitimate concern here?
Well, you got that place on his hand. Is it his left hand?
Yeah.
That won't go away.
And it looks dark now, like it's gotten worse, according to images that may or may not be real.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem to be affecting his ability, to communicate or to like it did for Biden.
Right.
Or to get around. I think he played golf yesterday. They've said it's not nothing serious. Now he probably may talk about that today, President Trump. That's what the word I'm reading is that he may give a health update. But yes, he's going to say he's healthy as a horse, never felt better, huh? You know what he's going to say. He's President Trump is very conscious, I should say, of his appearance.
Right.
I mean, he's a TV star, right?
Right.
So they want the makeup right, and they want everything looking good. That's why he hires all these Fox TV people.
Has he already answered
to be staffers? What
has he already answered for his hand?
I think his press secretary is it Levitt.
Yeah.
She said it was from shaking hands and all day, and that'd be.
When I first saw the bruising or mark on his hand, I thought it was from like the strap of a golf glove, I should say.
Yeah.
Well, it shouldn't be on that tight to bruise your hand.
She did say that he shook a lot of hands, though.
Yeah. So, I think he's going to say something about that today, about the situation.
It would be good.
But you're right. 79 years. He's 79, right?
79, right.
So, that's well past AARP recruitment age right there.
Well, look, Tim, I'm only 7 years behind the president age-wise, right? And you can't see it, but I get these bruises on my arms, on my hands, and Marlene says, "Where'd that come from?" I don't really know. Maybe I barely bumped a door or something, and you see
you bruise easier.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. You bruise easier as you roll
and
along.
you run into more doors.
Both those things are true.
Yeah, that's true too.
I resemble that remark.
Yeah.
I'm 62. I'm a young man compared to
me. But you're coming in my direction.
I'm the same, little bit of the same thing. How did I get this scratch? What happened there? Anyway,
if anybody is curious, Vice President J.D. Vance is 41.
He's 41 years old.
41.
It's the first time in my lifetime that the vice president has been younger than me.
Okay.
Wow, he's a young man. Hey, I got asked yesterday, Ray, Wesley. By the way, you're listening to today's. I tell you what, we'll save this for after the break.
Okay.
That's a good tease, right?
There you go.
Now I don't have any trolling.
Do you have any trolling tips or advice?
No,
that's not your thing.
I would say if the only troll I would say, and this is.
You're in
Alabama, is that I told y'all about a year ago after Nick Saban retired.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whenever it was, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I said there's going to be a big market for psychiatrists in Alabama.
Oh yes.
When Nick Saban retires, and down to earth we come for Alabama fans, and so I think
you're a prophet.
Yeah.
Somebody should have set up a therapy.
It's like the DuBose years, but in 2025.
Hey, you talk about a great run.
Oh, absolutely.
Alabama, well, they've had a great run for many decades, but with Nick Saban, I think they won 6 national championships. But
and made 9
what's the old expression? Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah,
that's right.
Good or bad, usually. We'll be back in a minute. Stay with us.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
It was Thanksgiving Day, and John Walter was lying in a hospital bed in Lubbock, Texas. Walter had to visit the hospital often. In order to keep living, he took kidney treatments 3 times a week. Making the trips to the hospital had sent Walter's hospital bills zooming. But worse than that, his health had meant that he was unable to harvest his cotton crop, and it was in danger of rotting in the field. While millions of Americans were taking the day off to enjoy the traditional Thanksgiving turkey, some of Walter's neighbors and friends were spending the day in a different way. "We knew he needed help, but would never ask for it," said a friend of Walter's. "He understands we all have crops we need to get out of the field at this time. But he needed help, so we all came." His friends came all right. On that Thanksgiving Day, more than 20 cotton harvesters were in operation on Walter's 200 acres of cotton. "We just decided to heck with it," said H.G. Burkett, Jr., who with Allen Higgins spearheaded the community effort. "We decided to help him first and then worry about ourselves." Why, a local grocery store even supplied food for those working, and some of the wives came to prepare it. And at the College Avenue Co-op Gin, everyone else's processing had to stop so that there would be adequate trailers to carry Walter's cotton. Fuel had been in short supply in the West Texas area for several weeks, but the men who brought their machinery decided to use their own fuel for the special harvest. About that, Higgins had this to say: "If we used Johnny's fuel, he would not have any for future needs." Walter was prevented from attending the Thanksgiving harvest because of his 6-hour appointment for the kidney treatment. "I've always been blessed with good neighbors," he said. "This is one Thanksgiving I'll never forget." Pick up your local daily newspaper or turn on your radio or television, and chances are that too much of the news will be bad news: killings, robbings, rapes, and the like. Being continually bombarded with bad news has a harmful effect on us. We begin to think that the only things which happen are bad. Never believe that. Good things still happen. Lots of good things still happen. All across this country of ours, there are people helping other people. You may never read about them or hear about them, but good things are still happening. In big cities and in little towns all across the land, good things are happening because good people are making them happen. One wonders who received the most, Walter or his friends. One thing is for certain: they all benefited from the sharing. Yes, sir, the Spirit of Christ still dwells in the hearts of some individuals. If you doubt it, ask Johnny Walter about it. He can give you a first-hand report.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
Be silent before me so that I may speak. Then let come upon me what may. Why should I take my flesh in my teeth and put my life in my hands? Though he slay me, I will hope in him. Job 13 through 15.
American Family Radio. This is today's issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of today's issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of today's issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Wesley, Chris, and Ray. So the question I was going to pose, Ray, that I got to you, that I got asked yesterday, in the way too early Republican presidential, race, so to speak, post-Trump, right?
Yeah.
Do you prefer Vice President J.D. Vance or Secretary of State Marco Rubio? Because Vance is almost certain going to run.
Right.
Going to run, and Rubio has been rumored. He wants another shot at that. At the White House. So, do you prefer either one of those guys? Do you like them equally, or what?
I like them both. JD's done a terrific job as vice president. He's been bold and strong. I'd give an A+ on what he's done as VP. So if he becomes the nominee, I'll give him my enthusiastic support. I suppose between those two, I might go for Marco Rubio, only because he's the one guy I know, Tim, who has even the possibility of uniting, you might call the MAGA faction, which is huge, right, in the Republican Party, and traditional conservative Republicans, because Marco came up through the Republican ranks. And I like that idea of a candidate who could appeal broadly inside the Republican Party.
Right.
I like one that's a little more divisive. No.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. No. First of all, let me say this. I agree with you 100%, Ray. That Marco Rubio would do I believe would do exactly as you were anticipating, and in fact, I wouldn't be opposed to that coming off a Trump term.
Right.
I'm not opposed to that. However, just my personal preference, I do like the quote non-politician. And Trump was the first one, right? First ever to not be quote in politics, but then elected as a president. Is that right?
I don't know.
Maybe there's another one.
I'd have to think back, but yeah.
But the point is that not having gone through having the chain of politics in order to become a leader, I like that. I think there's obviously some perspective there that's helpful. I think Marco Rubio did a great job, but I would like to see J.D. Vance. Now here's a hybrid, but it's not in the discussion. The one that I believe is in between both, it would be Florida.
Oh, no name, Mr. No Name?
DeSantis?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Governor Ron DeSantis?
Ron DeSantis, I believe he's the closest to being a hybrid of not being contaminated with the swamp, but yet at the same time he is a politician.
Yeah, Governor DeSantis will be available.
Yeah.
Because he terms out this next year, I think, and of course he ran against Trump in the Republican primary, as did a couple of others, but didn't get anywhere.
But that's way too early, right?
On that, but yeah, you may be hearing from him again, Governor Ron DeSantis. But I would say, almost always in history, it's whoever the VP is.
Yeah, but
whoever the vice president is of a sitting president will be the nominee of that party. I can't think of a time when that wasn't the case.
Yeah, but that wasn't the question. The question is, who do you want, right?
That's true. That is the question. Who? Between Vance and Rubio?
Because I think the assessment that Pastor Ray gave was the best.
You know what? I do like what Ray said. If I had to pick between those two, that's a hard decision. Really hard. That's 50-50.
Is that why you asked and then try to step away from answering?
I asked without answering because I don't really have a definitive answer at this point. I would probably lean toward Vance.
Yeah.
But just because I do, as Ray cited, I like everything he's done and said so far as VP, and I think he's highly intelligent. And a man of conviction too, but common sense.
And he's got a great personality.
If I had,
he's also the senator from a state. Now Ohio's been red for a while, but it's from a state that you would need Of course, you would need Florida too, but I think Florida is pretty well read.
At least for.
Now, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, before we even think about 2028, if I was a conservative or some sort of person that's hired by campaigns to help people get elected, I would make sure that they're really focusing on the 2026 midterms. I think this particular midterm that we've got coming up is probably the most important midterm election we've ever had, because if it goes back to Democrats, the Trump agenda is just derailed at that point.
Yeah.
So I would focus on 2026 and then have the conversation about 2028.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
But who do you prefer, Chris?
Yeah. Don't dodge the question, Chris.
You can't dodge it.
I would say it's going to be Vance, because like Tim, a lot of times the sitting vice president is going to get the baton, or at least the opportunity.
But you have no preference between the two, Rubio or Vance. You like them both.
I like them both, and quite honestly, they could run together on a ticket, which would give you Ohio and Florida on a ticket. And
that's true.
No Republican wins the White House without Ohio, and everybody and their brother needs Florida.
Yeah, Vance, Rubio, combination. I don't know if Rubio would want to be VP for Vance, because Rubio, is he 50? What is he?
I'll look him up.
He looks.
He's old, Dad.
He looks younger.
No, I know what you mean.
But Vance, you said Vance is only 41. Is that what somebody
Correct.
said?
Yeah. Marco Rubio is 54. Wow. He was born in 1971.
He's 54?
So in 2028, he would be, what, 58, 59?
I don't know if a 56-year-old wants to be VP for a 43-year-old. I'm just saying that. I'm just asking that question.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is that I wanted to make is there's a lot of talk that Marco Rubio does want to run in 2028. He ran against Trump once, right? And he's been a senator from Florida for a long time. As Ray, as you said, Rubio runs in the MAGA and the traditional conservative circles, and there's a lot of overlapping there.
Sure.
But he would, and Rubio is well known. Of course, Vance is well known. So that would be a tough one if they duked it out in a primary to see who won between Rubio and Vance. But I'm just saying the money. Yeah. If you were a betting man, the money would be on whoever the VP is, because that's usually who has all the connections from the party, and also what you would think would probably have President Trump's endorsement.
Yeah. It would be good, too, if they got their, fighting out of the way behind closed doors.
Yes.
Because if they come out in a debate swinging at one another, the media will have a field day over that.
Oh, yeah.
MAGA against MAGA.
But they usually do. You know how politics is.
Don't call him Little Marco.
You have to do something to distinguish between yourself. I think the days of name calling will be over when Trump's gone. I'm talking about
you're talking about in the in a debate type, right?
Yeah, the little petty names that Trump has.
Although this version of Donald Trump is not the one we saw in the first term. He has been more cordial. There hasn't been as much name calling, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
At least publicly. I don't know what he's telling people at the Oval.
Trump feels bad about it.
No, it's because he won. It's over.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. All right.
So Rubio v. Vance. There may be some other names, but I would think one of those two would ultimately be the Republican nominee.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're trying to sell a book, and then you got to get your name in there real quick there toward the end, just for a couple weeks, and then we've seen that before, haven't we?
Yep. Yeah, and as you said, Governor Ron DeSantis is there too, but I think he would probably be more of a like a cabinet level position.
Yeah, maybe put him in Secretary of the Navy or something. I mean, you could get him in the administration.
Yeah. I think we'll be hearing from Ron DeSantis. He's like Vance. He's a young guy.
But you're right. That's going to be a big race to watch next year. It looks like it might be Representative Byron Donalds running in a primary against the guy that DeSantis just put in charge to be lieutenant governor.
Yeah.
If everything worked out.
Well, Florida and Ohio used to be they would be purple, I guess you could say, states, but they've been trending. Both Ohio and Florida have both been two big states have been trending red for a while now.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. You're listening to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. What's your next story, Chris?
Well, this one we came across. I think Tim actually found it from Daily Mail.
That would be me.
Cabin chaos as SkyWest flight drops 4,400 feet in seconds, sending screaming passengers to hospital. If I was on this flight, I would have been one of those people screaming. 4,400 feet in seconds. They were trying to avoid some bad weather. There was, quote, violent turbulence, and the pilot, trying to help ensure the safety of the flight, did some maneuvers to basically get around it, get under it, and they dropped 4,400 feet in seconds.
Okay. You're smiling and laughing, Chris, but this wasn't a smiling and laughing.
No, I would be terrified if I was on this flight.
Okay, so nobody was hurt.
No.
There's no plane crash. This was a flight, Ray, from Colorado to Texas. Have you ever heard of a commercial plane dropping 4,000 feet in how long?
In seconds, it just says.
That's impossible. Does it say seconds?
I mean, you're going this way, and all of a sudden you're going down.
Well, that's a
like
nosedive.
That. What did they hit? One of those? Yeah.
It
so
says,
what did they do?
violent turbulence.
Violent turbulence. So it sounded like to me it was out of control.
Mm-hmm.
It was out of control of the pilots. That's what it sounds
Suddenly dropped from a cruising altitude of 39,000 feet to 34,650 feet.
Yeah, and they didn't warn the folks because they didn't know it was going to happen, I guess, which is kind of scary if you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, and there was at least one guy who hit the ceiling, which means he didn't have his seatbelt on, right?
Right.
So
they tell you even when you're not supposed to be wearing your seatbelt,
unless you're going to the restroom,
keep
your seatbelt on,
right.
because
wear your seatbelt,
because turbulence can happen anytime, unexpectedly. But this, what was this? A United or American? What was this?
SkyWest.
SkyWest
is probably
flight.
owned by a bigger company.
SkyWest flight from Colorado. Where did it say where it originated and where it was going?
It was flying from Aspen to Houston on Thursday.
Okay, but 4,000 feet that's a nosedive. You would think, especially if you got it without warning, you would think for 4,000 feet, you're thinking this is the end.
So this is how my mind begins to work in stories like this. I go, now I want to know just how bad the turbulence was, because that's pretty bad. Like, is it even?
Is it what now?
Is it even with the destruction, or the flight? Because dropping that fast, that quick, I'm going, I don't know. Maybe do we want the turbulence?
Right.
I don't know what's worse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, the turbulence caused the descent.
Right.
Oh, okay. I thought they were trying to
avoid the turbulence.
Yes.
I see what you're saying.
I think he was trying to get around some of the bad weather here.
Okay.
A passenger described how a grown man flew up like a rag doll as turbulence rocked the cabin. I looked down and there was a cell phone in my lap that wasn't mine. The passenger continued. I guess it flew up and landed in my lap.
Okay, so it sounds like the SkyWest pilot, to your point, Wesley, was trying to avoid turbulence, and it didn't work.
Okay? That's what I'm hearing.
Because dropping 4,000 feet, as I said, in seconds, I've never heard of something like that unless you're just dropping out of the sky.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So that's absolutely terrifying. I bet there'll be some people on that flight who will never fly again, Ray.
Never fly.
I might be counted as one of them to go through something as terrifying as that.
When I was coming back from Israel last week, we had landed in Newark, and we had our layover there, and we were flying from Newark, New Jersey to Memphis. And the pilot gets down there, and he's like, "Good morning, passengers. We're going to have a great day, great weather out here. We're going to get a little bit of a headwind when we take off, but not too worried about that or whatever." And in my mind, I'm thinking, how much is a little bit of a headwind, right?
Right.
So anyway, JJ and I both had said, hey, we're going to try to stay awake during the layover. We'll nap on the plane. That way we'll be fresh for the drive home, because once we got to Memphis, we still had 90 minutes to drive in the van. But anyway, we're laying there. We're sitting there in our seats on the plane, and I've got an eye mask on already. This is before we've even taken off. So I'm sitting there in my neck pillow. I got my eye mask on, and that little bit of a headwind felt like we were swimming up into the sky. It was like this, Tim. It's what it felt like.
He was moving around everywhere?
Yes. I was, and then there was a child behind us that was scared. Understandably, I was too. It was not the best experience.
What's your well, that heavy turbulence, that especially if you get people who are inexperienced flyers, that heavy, the turbulence that's rocking the whole plane around. Mm-hmm. Of course, it doesn't bother me because I've done it so many times as somebody who's a veteran flyer. But you see the newbies on there, Because they're looking around going, is this normal? Somebody please tell me.
Their face says
this
it all.
Is normal.
Their eyes and their face say it all.
So I just sort of look at them and throw my hands in, throw my hands in the air like, I don't know.
I don't know, but we're all find out together.
But we got a 50-50 going on here. Ray, what's your most do you have one particular?
Well, the one that I remember most, we were making a trip over to Europe, and it was overnight flight, as often is going from the U.S. into Europe, and leave in the evening and arrive in the early morning over there, and we're about 4 hours into it, which means we're lost. We're just you're
over Newfoundland.
Yeah. And you look out the window, and it's just dark, right?
There's nothing.
And you know that 35,000 feet down below you is the Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
And we hit it's kind of like what you're talking about. Not as drastic as that, but that is truly terrifying.
Without warning, you mean you hit turbulence and you started?
That's right, without warning. And it's you're kind of, Jim, you know how you can sleep and be awake at the same time on the plane? You're kind of dozing.
Quasi.
Right.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you hit this, and you wake up, and you look out, and there's clouds around, and you know that there's the ocean down underneath you. So if you go down, there's no way.
Right. Right.
It's all over right now.
There's no airport to go down and land on.
Right. We're not going to make it to Greenland.
Right.
If we go down, we're going all the way down. That's just so maybe it's only 10 seconds till your mind clears, right? But in that 10 seconds, you're thinking, this is it, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Grab your
Why
bike.
was it that severe? You mean they just rocked the plane?
There was some mid-Atlantic storm that we flew right into. Who knows?
And again, it's okay. I say it's okay. You feel better about it if the pilot comes on and warns you.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to experience some turbulence in the next hour. Be prepared. Okay, then I'm prepared. But if you got just all of a sudden wham, bam, and the plane rocks and you start nosediving, you think, well, he didn't warn me about this, which means he didn't know. He didn't know either. I never will forget my dad, who flew all over the country, and he flew to Europe and Israel and all over the place. And I remember him telling me this one story, Ray. I've told it before, but he said the worst flight he was ever on was like a springtime flight from Dallas to Memphis. From Dallas to Memphis, flying time is probably an hour, an hour 15 maybe.
Maybe.
And so it's a very short flight. And he said, but they got up in the air and got into one of these, these thunder boomers, and lightning was popping all around. The plane was rocking, and he said, you just look out the window and just you're expecting just to be hit by lightning. It's just flashing everywhere. I don't know. Sometimes they get caught in this. I guess these planes do. They try to avoid them, and they can most of the time they can fly around the thunderstorms. But anyway, he got caught in one, and Dad said, there's one man cussing and another man praying. I guess your true colors come out when it's all on the line.
That's it.
And so he said that anyway, Dad said, I thought that was, and he'd flown a lot. He said, I thought this was it. This was the end. I was saying, I hope I've got my life insurance paid up for my wife and children, because this plane's not coming. This plane's about to fall out of the sky.
Yeah.
I mean, he was serious. I mean, so it was that bad. So, but anyway, he said the pilot said nothing, just nothing. And of course, I guess, what are you supposed to say? I mean, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what but he didn't say anything. There was nothing, no communication over there, which said that the pilot was focused on the job at hand. He said they landed in Memphis. They taxied up to the, to the gate, turned off the plane, and finally the pilot came on. He said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Memphis. I just want to tell you, I'm as happy to be here as you are.
We appreciate some honesty from the cockpit.
But I guess he couldn't say that mid-flight.
Right.
I don't know if we're going to. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the pilot from the cockpit.
Yeah.
Just wanted you to know. I don't know. We got a 50-50 chance of making it.
Time to say your prayers.
So say your prayers and count your blessings.
Alex was on.
And we will not be serving any snacks.
That's right.
Yeah. Alex was on here one time and we were sharing similar stories like this. And if I remember the story correctly, Alex was talking about how there was an issue with like the power on the plane or something. And the pilot comes on and says, we're going to have to turn all the lights off and power down or whatever. And then hopefully the system will reboot or something like that. And Alex
hopefully.
said, yeah. Alex,
I don't like that word from
Alex
a pilot.
said it got real quiet.
Right. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Oh, man. I know one time this was about a year ago or so, year and a half ago, Allison and I were flying to Miami. And this is the second time this has happened, but so we were flying, from Memphis to Miami and landed in Miami, got down within like 100 yards of the ground, and then the plane just shot straight back up into the air, like an Air Force jet.
Yeah.
And we had made a close call with hitting another plane.
Interesting.
Because that's the reason, you don't just jet way, you almost land, almost hitting the runway, and then you just soar straight up. Sure. So that's what happened right there. But that was whoa. Did that just happen?
Yeah.
It's one of those moments.
Well, I know that if the ticket sales go down for airplane tickets over the next day and a half, I think we're going to be accused of some of that.
Oh, really? Causing people I think people have.
We just don't need to say any more names. Okay, no airline names. No airline names.
I know some people that won't fly.
It is much more statistically safe if that's grammatically correct than driving in a car.
It is.
Yeah.
Our
I understand that,
and
I'm fine with flying, and I understand those statistics. Sure. But here's the thing people fear. I think about flying is they don't have their hands on the wheel.
Yes, that's true.
Huh?
I was in a bird strike incident one time driving a car, so even that's an issue with a motor vehicle, not just planes.
You flew into a bird?
Yeah, yeah.
A bird flew into you?
A flock of birds flew into me.
A flock of birds. That was a group, wasn't it, back in the 80s?
Flock of seagulls with the hair.
Oh, that was seagulls.
Couldn't tell you what they recorded. I'm sure it was Carpenter songs. Yeah. But we were driving somewhere for like a birthday party, and we were going across some farmland. It was a highway in between two plots of farmland. But anyway, these birds like flew up out of the crops and I hit them like head on. So even bird strikes happen.
Did they crack your windshield?
No, it was the bottom of the car. It didn't do that much damage, if any, but it scared the person behind us because we were riding in a caravan where we were going.
All right, slow news day, people. So we're trying to fill some time here.
Yes.
We do have some things to talk about, some more news stories. You're listening to Today's Issues. Tim, Wesley, Chris, and Ray. Go ahead.
Well, I posted this on our Today's Issues Facebook page for people to read for themselves, but an ancient mural of Jesus Christ healing the sick has been uncovered in the ruins of an Egyptian settlement from 1,600 years ago. The mural of Jesus, along with the churches... Actually, I lost my place here. It shows Jesus healing the sick, and it shows the transition from pagan worship to Jesus Christ 1,600 years ago. All the more reason why archaeology is important, and they are finding things that do show people in years past did worship our Lord and Savior.
Ray, how far do you know, as you look at church history, let's not talk about Europe for right now, or even eastward from Israel. I'm talking about the expansion of Christianity. How far south did it reach? Because Egypt is not too far from Israel, but still you have a mural of Jesus Christ they found, which they say is 1,600 years old in Egypt. And Egypt was not... anyway, what can you comment on that?
There are traces of Christian influence going back, I think, even further than that in Egypt, which shouldn't surprise us because, Tim, Alexandria was a huge There's a Jewish library there in Alexandria. And not surprising, as the gospel spread, Paul said to the Jews first and also to the Greeks, went to Alexandria, went down throughout different parts of Egypt. And of course, this would be before Islam, which comes much later in history.
Right.
So Christianity was in Egypt long time before Islam.
But Alexandria, is that what you said?
Yes.
In Egypt, even today, is a huge home of what's called Coptic Christians.
That's exactly right. Right. They trace their history way back, almost to the beginning.
Right. All right, we'll be back with more of today's issues. Steve Paisley Jordahl is back from his Alaskan cruise and is going to come in here and talk to us. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
As a federal or state employee, you have the opportunity to support the American Family Association through the combined federal campaign. By designating a monthly payroll deduction using 12037, you help AFA continue to fight for your family. So when you complete your CFC form, remember, AFA's number is 12037. And thank you for your help.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
For American Family News, I'm Bronson. President Trump is demanding answers on COVID-19 drugs, warning that the CDC is, quote, being torn apart, end quote, by the debate over vaccines and other treatments. Fox's Mark Meredith reports.
The president is demanding pharmaceutical companies clearly explain how effective their COVID-19 treatments are as the bitter debate is underway over who still truly needs a vaccine 5 years after the pandemic began. Last week, the FDA approved the latest round of COVID vaccines, but only for people who are at higher risk of severe illness. Trump posted about this. He said many people think are a miracle that saved millions of lives. Others disagree, with CDC being ripped apart over this question. I want the answer, and I want it now. I have been shown information from Pfizer and others that is extraordinary, but they never seem to show those results to the public. Some in his administration have downplayed the effectiveness of the COVID vaccine.
The American Medical Association, American Academy of Pediatrics, and many other professional organizations say there's no doubt about the effectiveness of vaccines. Health experts accuse RFK Jr. and his allies of pushing long-debunked conspiracy theories. Louisiana Republican Senator Bill Cassidy is applauding the president's effort to provide more transparency, while Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders says this controversy is creating a health crisis and calls on Kennedy to resign. Police said an 11-year-old boy was fatally shot in Houston, Texas on Saturday after a ding-dong ditch prank. It's where you ring the doorbell of somebody's home and run away before they can open the door. Houston Police Department said in a statement the boy had been ringing doorbells with friends as a prank late Saturday evening. The Guardian reports that according to authorities, the children were running from the house when the boy was shot several times. A homicide detective said the boy was shot in the back. A middle-aged man was arrested. Neither of their names have been released. The governor's race in Virginia is heating up, and Republicans there are growing more optimistic about their chances. New polls show that Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears is closing the gap on her Democratic opponent, Abigail Spanberger. Fox's Alexandria Hoff reports from Lynchburg, Virginia.
Just a few months ago, even weeks ago, many were convinced that former Democrat Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger would be running away with this. But now, with 63 days to go until Election Day, several statewide polls are showing this tightening of the race. Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears, many have seen her tightening this gap here. Spanberger, she's really focused on affordability. She's been hoping to excite those who oppose President Trump's policies to get out to vote. Now, where Earl Sears has really benefited here is this more attention coming to the race with a degree of deja vu. In recent weeks, school issues have really come to the forefront. Lieutenant Governor Sears, she's hoping to channel Governor Glenn Youngkin's Parent Matters messaging.
Governor Glenn Youngkin has emphasized public safety. Virginia law states that governors cannot serve consecutive terms. Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani is reportedly out of the hospital following a car crash over the holiday weekend. Here's Tanya J. Powers.
Rudy Giuliani's son, Andrew, says his father has been released from a New Hampshire hospital following a crash on Saturday night that left the 81-year-old with fractured vertebrae, injuries to his left arm and leg, and multiple cuts. Andrew told WABC that the former mayor is, quote, in a lot of pain. The elder Giuliani was riding in a Ford Bronco when the vehicle was rear-ended in Manchester, a crash that is under investigation. On Monday, President Trump announced that Giuliani would be awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Giuliani, who was Trump's former lawyer, was disbarred in New York and Washington, D.C. for trying to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. In New York City, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
The landlocked West African nation of Burkina Faso, run by the military since 2022, has banned homosexuality. Here's CJ Papa.
Burkina Faso joins a list of more than half of Africa's 54 countries clamping down on homosexuality. The law, passed by Parliament by unanimous vote, goes into effect immediately, with offenders facing 2 to 5 years in prison and fines, with the country's justice minister describing homosexual acts as bizarre behavior. Other officials touted the new law as a recognition of marriage and family values. There's been plenty of international pushback on laws banning homosexuality. Those same laws are popular in countries where locals and officials have criticized homosexuality as behavior imported from abroad and not a sexual orientation. CJ Papa, Fox News.
For American Family News, I'm Bronson Woodruff.
The loss of a child through abortion, miscarriage, or stillbirth affects the emotional health of families. Feelings of anger, sadness, and regret can be overwhelming. There is hope and healing in the aftermath of a reproductive loss. Call the International Helpline at 866-482-LIFE to talk with someone who has been where you are and healed to help others. Your call is confidential. 866-482-LIFE.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, president of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. We got 24 and a half more minutes of program here on this Tuesday, September the 2nd. Tim, Wesley, and Ray, and joining us now is in studio is our colleague Steve Paisley-Jordahl.
Hey, everybody. I missed y'all. How you been?
Hey, welcome home.
Thank you.
Okay, so
we missed you too.
Well, thank you.
Yes, we did. That's heartfelt, Steve.
I know.
I was just telling Steve, I actually got a pair of Paisley shorts while he was gone. That's how
Did you really?
That's how much I missed you.
I know. Thank you.
I'm honored.
honored.
I have a pair of Paisley gym shorts as part of a little trend going on with the boys that I coach, and I looked up and I was like, you know what? I thought about Steve.
They make something called Paisley gym shorts.
Oh yeah, I'll bring him in the studio one day.
It's catching on, Tim.
It is.
Starting something big.
Making a run.
So tell us about your cruise to Alaska.
It was wonderful. We went to Alaska. I posted some pictures that Brent has put up on our Facebook page. If y'all want to go see those, there's just some, and they're about 5 or 6 photos out of like 100 that I took. But
of our Today's Issues Facebook page.
On our Today's Issues Facebook page, you can go look at those pictures. Beautiful scenery. Man, God is such a creative, beautiful creator. The animals and the scenery and the water, the immensity of it all, and the.
Now, you when you do a cruise, like you left from Seattle?
Well, Seattle.
And when you're going to Alaska, are you out in the ocean where you can't see the shore, or are you going along the Canadian shore?
No, they went out into international waters so that they could do their casino, I think.
They
had to do, or sell all their tax-free stuff. So, yeah, we were out when we were doing the day-long, the sea days, when you're at sea all day going from one.
Yeah. How long does it take? Get from Seattle to Alaska.
The first day was a sea day. We went all the way up to Sitka. So the first day on, we didn't do any stops. Went up to Sitka, then we came down to Glacier Bay, and then Ketchikan, and then another sea day down to Victoria, BC, and then home to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
So and we took Cunard. Cunard is an interesting cruise line. It's British. So I'm not saying the food wasn't good, but the food was good. The food was great, but it was British food.
That was going to be my first question. I didn't want to interrupt, though, the food.
Well, okay, so my criticism of I'm not. It's an older clientele.
Okay.
I'm not going to say that they were really, really old, but one of the shore excursions was burial at sea.
Oh,
so just so you could.
Oh my word!
Yeah.
They advertise that.
That's good.
Well, you're not kidding, are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. Hold on a second. Wait, I got so
Anything
confused.
is possible these days.
Before
That
we,
was well played, though.
Thanks.
before we set sail, ladies and gentlemen, let me make you aware of
We have a
our
couple
burial at sea program,
We've got it.
which you can purchase for $51.
It was an older clientele.
Now, how does that affect the food, though? That's
No,
my
the food
question.
that's separate.
It's softer.
Okay.
What it means is
I was gonna.
Soup and custard.
what it means is that the clientele means that there was not a lot of 20, 30-year-olds partying all night and not a lot of teenagers and kids running around.
Okay.
There were 2 formal nights. We're dressed up in tuxes and
That's good. Sounds like a fun trip.
It was great. It was really good.
Canard is the name?
Canard.
Okay.
I'd give it. I'm giving my cruise about a 5, and I don't mean that to be like that. It was
5 out of what?
Well, that's just how many pounds I gained.
But boom.
He came back.
A lot of food, huh?
Okay, but on the food now, the British. So I've been on a bunch of cruises, but never been on that cruise line. So what kind of food did they have?
Well, so it was a combination. If you went to, they had one kind of pub type thing where you can get bangers and mash and
bangers and mash,
sausage and
I
potatoes.
think that was a comedian
Cottage
duo
pie and all this kind of
back
British
in the
stuff.
day.
And
Here y'all go again, losing me.
but they
Bangers and mash.
on the buffet, there was a lot of seafood. A lot of
well,
seafood going
that's
on,
okay.
of course. So smoked salmon's pretty good and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's great. Well, welcome home.
Thank you.
Glad you avoided an iceberg.
Yeah. Well, we went through some very little ones in Glacier Bay.
You hit a
Glacier
very
Bay's
little
full.
iceberg?
Yeah, Glacier Bay's
Full
full
tiny
of them.
one.
Okay.
What do you
So the ship just pushes it aside.
Yeah, they're size
tiny ones.
maybe the size of up to this, like a laptop or something.
That's probably not something you advertise either.
Yeah, probably not.
Come with us as we smash into icebergs all along the way. Anyway, so welcome home.
Thank you. Great to be
What's
back.
your first news story?
Well, can I clean up some stuff from the shooting in Minneapolis?
Yes, please do.
Let me start here. Rosie O'Donnell went on and decided that she was going to, without any prior knowledge, without any research, decided what was the score, and she gave it, and then she had to apologize and walk it back. So I'm going to play cut 11. You're going to hear what she has to say about the shooter, and then her apology immediately following cut 11.
What do you know? Was a white guy, Republican, MAGA person. What do you know? Hi, everybody. It's Rosie O'Donnell, star of the Flintstones. Listen, I know a lot of you were very upset about the video I made before I went away for a few days. I didn't go online and haven't seen them till today. But you are right. I did not do my due diligence before I made that emotional statement. And I said things about the shooter that were incorrect. I assumed, like most shooters, they followed a standard MO and had standard, feelings of NRA-loving kind of gun people. Anyway, the truth is, I messed up, and when you mess up, you fess up. I'm sorry. This is my apology video, and I hope it's enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell. She moved out of the United States when Trump came. She actually moved. She's in Ireland.
Good
What?
for her.
So immediately after the story broke about what happened in Minneapolis, where this transgendered person shot and killed the two people died and many others injured at the Catholic school there. We all know what happened last week. So her immediate comments, without even knowing anything, was to say this was a MAGA white. Did she say white person?
Yeah,
Republican.
Yeah.
How did she?
I don't know where
she didn't even know any of that.
Well, maybe
and she called it an emotional response.
Maybe she might have seen that he was white.
Right.
Although, yeah, I don't know that she knows.
What does that make any difference?
Yeah, but
then you just fill in the blanks. You see what you want to see.
Yes, but in order to make that kind of comment, if you made it within about 30 minutes of of the news, you could probably get away with that without saying we didn't have enough information. But within 3 hours,
She didn't say we don't have enough information.
No.
She said,
I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give her the benefit of the
Well,
doubt.
but that's because she wanted it to be
Yeah.
what she said it was, written initially, and then she had to walk it all back.
But even her apology said, the normal
MO
is
NRA toting.
That's not. This never
That's
happened.
not true.
It's never happened.
True.
Yeah. So
The other issue with the shooting is now.
otherwise, she's a great actress.
Oh, I know. Flintstones. Is
Rosie
like Academy
O'Donnell.
Award.
I mean,
But every time she does, I say every time, the videos I've seen where she introduces and then she has like a rant on a topic, which she's usually wrong and far left on, she introduces herself with, do y'all remember? She'll say, you remember I was a Flintstone actor. I'm like,
Yeah.
you have to do this every time.
I noticed that. I would just skip that.
Just
Just say I worked in Hollywood.
That's right.
She was on A League of Their Own.
Yeah,
Watched that on the plane.
Right.
Yeah, she's done a few movies,
Sure.
TV shows.
The other issue coming out, and Ray, I want to get your thoughts on this. The issue of we had a lot of people criticizing thoughts and prayers toward the victims. And so Jen Psaki was the first one to come out, and she wrote, I had enough of your thoughts and prayers. We need action. They're all doing to the gun control thing. And so Caroline Leavitt and Speaker Mike Johnson had something to say about Psaki's comments, cut 10.
She took to X to post the following: prayer is not enough. Prayers do not end school shootings. Prayers do not make parents feel safe sending their kids to school. Prayer does not bring these kids back. Enough with the thoughts and prayers.
I saw the comments of my predecessor, Ms. Psaki, and frankly, I think they're incredibly insensitive and disrespectful to the tens of millions of Americans of faith across this country who believe in the power of prayer. It's disrespectful to the millions of Americans of faith.
Well, it's incredible to me that Jen Psaki and Gavin Newsom and others would attack religion, diminish the faith of millions of Americans at a time of such great tragedy. There are a lot of common sense solutions, things that can be done to protect children at schools and in churches that do not involve taking away the constitutional rights of law-abiding American citizens.
Ray, when we pray about shootings like this, do we expect God to put a force field around the students that the bullets can't penetrate? What's the purpose of our prayers?
Well, look, every single day, Steve, Marlene and I pray for our grandkids, separated from us by hundreds of miles, right? I'm just saying this on a personal basis. I can't physically protect my grandkids up in Missoula, Montana, or in Wheaton, Illinois, but the Lord can. He can plant the angels of God around them to protect them. Does that guarantee they will not be hurt? No, it does not. Does it guarantee that some crazy, mentally deranged person may start shooting and may hit one of my grandkids? No, I understand that's a possibility in a fallen world. But when I pray, I am asking God to do what only God can do. I'm asking him, I guess I'm saying, Steve, I'm asking him to do something I can't do. God is everywhere. He is present in the deepest, darkest situations, and I am praying, oh God, protect them. So I would say in answer to Jen Psaki that we ought to pray and we ought to act. I am for ending school shootings. Who isn't for ending school shootings? Pray. We ought to pray, and then we ought to step in, and we ought to do what we can to protect the children of this nation from the predators out there and from the people who are so mentally deranged, they take a gun and shoot through the windows at kids while they are praying. I don't know. I don't know the real final answer, but I know this. If we stop praying, things will not get better. They can only get worse.
It's kind of like we're praying, we're praying for comfort, obviously, for support, but God's ultimate glory is what we want out of these things, right? God to be honored. And sometimes, he will use everything to his glory.
How do you... Go ahead, Wesley.
Did you want to follow up?
No, go.
Okay, so one of the positions I took when I heard that was they, meaning the Democrats, are for the removal of prayer in school. They're for the removal. In fact, there was a court case, 1962, that removed prayer in schools. So now that we've removed prayer in schools, now there's exception in Christian schools, and private schools. There's some exceptions there, but in public schools we've removed prayer. So now that we've removed prayer, I'm not saying there's a direct correlation here, but there are a cause and effect. But if you look at it, we've had an increase in school shootings since we've removed prayer from school. So if we're going to say that less prayer is more actionable, they voted for, they have removed school prayer, and now there's more shootings. So apparently their idea of not praying is not that effective.
Well, as far as what started this, that was Jen Psaki, the former press secretary for Joe Biden, and she's the one that ranted that, prayers
others as well.
Do what now?
She's not the only one.
Yeah, what they live in a fantasy world, and so they think that somehow we're going to outlaw guns in America.
Yeah.
That's what their hope and quote prayer is, that guns are outlawed in America, and that will stop school shootings and other shootings that take place in public places where innocent people die. And as we've said time and time again, the argument from these people on the left is illogical, but they reboot the same argument over and over again, because if you outlaw guns, even if the liberals had their way, not all liberals feel this way, but the far lefties, to outlaw guns, then they're going to say, well, if you outlaw guns, then that will stop school shootings. Okay, that's what that's their argument.
We're agreeing with you.
It's their argument. So, if you outlaw guns, guess who's going to have guns?
Oh, all the criminals will turn them in,
right,
Tim.
You say sarcastically.
Yes, he did.
So, Steve, you're saying your thoughts and sarcasm are with us.
My thoughts and sarcasm are
okay.
with you.
So,
my point, yeah.
So only if you outlaw guns, then law-abiding citizens would theoretically obey the law. Although we have the Second Amendment in this country, I'm just saying theoretically, the only people that would have guns would be the bad guys,
which is what they're taking off the streets in Washington D.C.
Right.
Through
So, but in this case, you have, as I've said before, you're not going to stop evil completely on planet Earth until Jesus Christ comes back and sets up his kingdom. Until then, we're going to have good versus evil, right versus wrong.
So don't infringe on the good people's rights.
Well, that's the way it's going to be, and I think that's biblical. You have a spiritual war going on planet Earth, and I remember reading in the Bible the other day, Ray, that I forgot where it was, Thessalonians or somewhere, where Paul goes, we were going to come visit you, but Satan prevented us from coming to you. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking to myself, Satan prevented you? I thought you were on God's side. Doesn't God overcome Satan and allow you to go? Well, I'm saying that because as long as we live in what's called a fallen world or a sinful world, and I know non-Christians don't even have a clue what I'm talking about, but if you're a born-again believer and you studied the Bible, you know what I'm talking about, good versus evil, spirit versus flesh, all those things that we understand to be true in the spiritual realm, that you're going to have, as long as we live in this fallen world, you're going to have evil that sometimes prevails in situations, sadly and unfortunately, but that's just the way it is. But we're told to pray.
Yeah.
When we pray, we're praying because the Bible says we're to pray. Jesus said we're to pray, so we're being obedient to Him. But as far as bad things happening to even good people, that's never going to stop until Jesus Christ sets up His rule on earth.
I have heard several people suggest this. Okay, if you want to go with gun laws, the red flag laws that they have that prevent mentally ill people from owning guns. You stop it before the psychopath gets the gun, right? Well, add transgender to that list. Let's see how they like that, because it's a mental illness.
Yep.
And a lot of the shootings of recent, there's more than 2 transgender shootings.
The Nashville shooting was a transgender person, too, as well. So.
Yeah. So let's see.
Targeting a Christian school.
Targeting a Christian school. Same situation.
That's the MO that Rosie O'Donnell should have been.
Yeah. I was disappointed to see Pope Leo XIV also weigh in on this and said he called for an end to the pandemic of arms, large and small.
What does that mean?
Guns. Pope came in and said get rid of the guns. He didn't say anything about the human heart.
Well, he does. In fairness, he does talk about the human heart. The popes do from time to time.
Yeah.
But so he's saying, what about the arms?
His quote is, "I call for an end to the quote pandemic of arms, large and small."
What is that? But I know I'm asking you to defend the Pope. So you're saying he's calling for more gun control?
Yes.
Well, remember he's from Chicago too.
Yes, it's true.
and you can't blame him for saying we need to get rid of the guns because they are everywhere and in many of them in bad hands, right? So
you know what we can agree on with the liberals is to get rid of unlawful guns.
Yeah.
I'm
start with
for
those.
that.
Start with those.
Yeah, the people that have guns illegally. Let's start with those because that's what they're doing in Washington D.C. They've removed hundreds of illegal guns from criminals.
Good point. Our next story, Steve.
All right, hey, something I'm watching. I don't know.
Are you watching it?
I'm watching it. I won't be able to tell you probably for a while yet any good, but there's a group out there called the Acts 17 Collective. I haven't had a chance to look at what Acts 17. Sounds like jewelry. Yeah, I know. Ray, do you know what's in Acts 17? This is technology leaders who are Christian and bringing Christ into technology.
Yeah, in Acts 17 is Paul on Mars Hill. Paul speaking to the philosophers of ancient Athens.
Well, the first that I'm aware of, it's like a TED Talk series for tech and faith.
Oh, I know what you're going to Peter
Thiel.
Thiel, right.
Is going to be doing a 4-part series on the Antichrist.
The Antichrist.
This is the founder of Palantir, one of the most wealthiest men in the world. How his Christian faith informs his understanding of the world, including areas of theology, history, literature, and politics of the Antichrist. So it's going to be in the Commonwealth Club in San Francisco. I'm really interested to see what he's going to say.
Now, I'm not familiar with Peter Thiel. Should I be?
He's a tech mogul.
Yeah, what did he do? PayPal or what did he?
Palantir, yeah.
Was he in business with either Zuckerberg or Musk or one of those?
My phone.
Oh, I thought you were looking for a pen. I had you there. Peter Thiel. When you say tech, I can automatically say I'm not familiar.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything tech wise.
PayPal.
PayPal. Yeah, the founder of PayPal.
Who's the one that's friends with Trump that was gay?
It's him.
Peter Thiel?
Yeah.
Is that him? So
I'm just looking here. Yes.
So did he get saved?
I don't know.
Change his lifestyle, or is he still openly homosexual?
That's an interesting question. I did not put those two things together.
So he's doing a TED Talk on, what'd you say?
The Antichrist. How his Christian faith informs his understanding of the world.
Yeah.
We live in strange times.
Boy,
I will
do
tell
we.
you that.
Boy,
we do.
Are you going to listen to it? Are you going to listen to it, Steve?
Well, if it's available. They're saying that they're not planning on putting it out. They're going to make you pay for it. So I'm not going to pay for it. That's for sure. But hey, I want to leave you with this if I can.
Okay, you leave us with it.
Look, I've just come back from a vacation, but I know that you guys maybe need one, and I have a suggestion. This is the Visitors Bureau of a certain part of our country came out with this nice appeal to come and visit them. You might want to choose this location for your next location. Cut 17.
Is your city boring? Too clean? Too safe? Why not take a vacation to beautiful Southern California? Whether you're being assaulted by our drug-addicted vagrants walking down Hollywood Boulevard, or you're just taking a minute to enjoy the scenery of used needles, trash, and human waste, Southern California is the ultimate destination for cultural enrichment. Why not see what awaits you under future President Gavin Newsom? Come visit SoCal today and see what everyone is talking about.
Yeah.
Is that the Babylon Bee?
No, but it could be.
Oh man, yeah, that's That's I don't know. Maybe that's probably
very accurate.
That's probably sponsored by the by Texas or Florida.
I bet. Yeah, I don't know who did it, but for sure.
All right.
Well
so
played.
Anyway, Southern California, it is naturally beautiful there, and the weather's great most of the year. But yeah, they got real, especially in Los Angeles, they got real problems. As that guy alluded to.
I have visited there once before on a work trip, and there were multiple blocks. I'm talking, I could walk for 5 blocks, and I was having to walk around the homeless.
Oh, really?
Weaving in and out.
Those homeless camps.
Homeless get
one tent after another.
We're not talking about on the outskirts.
Yeah.
We're talking about in the middle of town.
Right. Right. All right, Ray. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
My thanks to Steve and Wesley and Chris and Brent Creeley, our producer.
Brent loves flying.
Do what now?
You didn't hear him in the background earlier. He didn't agree that he kind of went off on Chris about how flying's safer than driving. He didn't agree.
Yeah, Brent's not going to be flying today. All right. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Have you ever wanted to take a boat ride on the Sea of Galilee? Raise your hand. Yeah, but